Hey there. It's been a while. Last episode we were on spring break, and now, well, we're over 2 months into the year. Time surely flies when you're having a good time. And on this show, the title says it all, because everything is always good. As you know from past episodes, here on The Good Stuff, we strive to bring you video clips and highlights that are all about positivity and good vibes. And this episode is no exception. We start from the first day of school and bring you up to date on all the amazing things going on in and around Red Clay School District. Ready to get started? I know I am. So let's jump right on in. Our first video is a staple around here. We pick one of the many amazing elementary schools to attend on the first day of school, and we capture how they welcome new and returning students to their campus. And we get to see some special guests who are in attendance as well. We were fortunate on this back to school video because we had the pleasure of accompanying our superintendent on his first day in Red Clay. So let's take a look at how that went. Good luck this year.
It means a lot to me as a staff in here who's really working very hard to make sure that our kids get the things that they need to be educated. And just have the great support of all the community members, the Wilmington Police Department, and just our Superintendent Green here supporting us and, chanting on education to give those students the support that they need so they can come here and be successful.
So good. You ready for 5th grade?
2019-2020 school year at Warner Elementary. My students, let's go. Come on up. Let's go.
Welcome back, Dad. Welcome back. Welcome back, Mom.
I'm excited to go back to school because I'm going to a new school this year.
Oh, that smile, man. You just made my day. You excited? I'm excited. I'm excited to be
What's up, bro? Welcome back. Why you do that to you? Good morning, good morning.
All right, 300. Easy. So when you go out here, you're going to go upstairs, okay? All right.
Hey, game time. What's up, buddy? How you feeling?
Yes.
Game time.
Right here, 108.
That's my
Yeah. Didn't say a word, but he saw I'm here, so that's a wonderful morning this year. Open up the 2019-2020 school year here at Warner Elementary. Had a lot of community folks come out to welcome our students and our friends and our families back. This is a great way to start my first year as superintendent here in Red Clay School District, but more importantly, to welcome our children and our families back again to the 2019-2020 school year.
Wow, what a reception. I wish I was welcome to work, even just one day like that. The Thunderbirds at Warner Elementary are going to have a great year, and new principal, Dr. Terrence Newton, will see to that, I am definitely sure. Red Clay prides itself on its one-to-one technology, meaning a Chromebook for every student in grades 3 through 12. Ah, the aroma of a new Chromebook. It's almost as good as that new car smell. Well, maybe that's not true, but the excitement when a student gets their first Chromebook is very evident. And you will see in this video that we took at HP DuPont Middle School. Take a look.
Tonight is our 6th graders get their Chromebooks at HP DuPont Middle School. So they've been dying for this moment since the first day of school, and tonight is their big day.
So we've scheduled 2 separate nights. Last night was 7th and 8th grade Chromebook distribution. Tonight is for 6th grade and the 7th and 8th graders that didn't manage to come last night. First they proceed to the gym. They fill out their paperwork.
I'm excited to get my Chromebook because at my old school, they didn't offer to get Chromebooks. Instead of having them pass out papers and wasting time, they can just say like, pull out your Chromebooks. So save more time and more time for learning.
Come on in. Sixth grade can go to either side.
Here in the library, we scan them through into the system. We provide them with their Chromebook, their charger, and off they go. It's that simple.
So right now, our students who are in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade are competing against kids in China, kids in India, kids in Japan. And if we can truly provide them with a global experience through the technology and red clay, we're giving them a huge head start in life.
It amazes me every year how technology and education are reliant on one another in the classroom. I guess the old excuse of the dog ate my homework won't fly anymore in any class these days. As much as we look forward to the future and brand new innovations for our students, learning with the aid of computers, tablets, mobile devices and the like, one thing still rings true. And that is, for a student to truly excel and learn, they need the instruction, passion, and brilliance of a teacher to guide them. At every school in Red Clay School District, a teacher is nominated to become that school's Teacher of the Year. However, out of the group, there is one teacher who can represent the whole district at the state level. And at EdTV, we have the great fortune to create a video each year to showcase these amazing people and educators. And this year's no exception. So we are proud to show you the video of this year's Teacher of the Year, Mr. Richard Weaver from AI High School. Enjoy.
My name is Richard Weaver. I am the band director at AI DuPont High School in Wilmington, Delaware. I've been here for 17 years, and this is my 8th year being the band director. So I had no idea I was going to become a teacher, and to be quite honest, when I first started teaching, some friends were like, "What? They let you become a teacher? What were they thinking?" I was a business major at UD, and I was enjoying the marching band, and I really thought, you know what, I want to do something with music. So Mr. Pretz, who was the former band director here, my director at AI, let me come and help him teach the Blue Gold Marching Band, the DFRC program. So I was a drum instructor for them 1 year, and I really enjoyed doing it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to switch my major to music. I enjoy what I'm doing. Another part of it would have been my senior year. I was on the wrestling team. I was a captain. Tommy Hogan was my wrestling coach. I got hurt, so I kind of became a coach my senior year. And then when I graduated, when I went on to college, he said, well, if you ever want to come back and help out, you're more than welcome to. So I became a volunteer wrestling coach my freshman year of college, which also kind of led into me getting a job here at AI DuPont. The biggest thing that motivates me is the students. I've mentioned that I was a student here at AI DuPont, fortunate enough to be in the band, and I know all the memories that I have from my time at AI, so I want my students to have those same memories. I want to try to take as many trips as we can, fundraise as much money to make that as possible as it can be, and that's really what motivates me to come here each and every day. My personal teacher style, I would describe it as very student-oriented. I treat my classes like a democracy. I mean, they know I'm in charge, but I want their input. With band, we let the students choose what music they want to play, what trips we're going to participate in, how we're going to fundraise, and then we work it together. And whatever we come up with, they know that that's like a unified front moving forward. And now I'm the person who needs to make their vision a reality. They're going to do what they want to do. They're not going to do what they don't want to do. So as a teacher, why wouldn't you take that input to make your classroom successful? Brand new teacher. Well, some of the best advice I could give to them is to say, don't forget the reasons you got into teaching in the first place. There's a lot behind the scenes that isn't so fun, you know, a lot of meetings, a lot of data. No matter how stressed you get, no matter how much you feel like you're underwater and you're treading water just to keep your head above, once you get above the water, look around and remember why you got an education in the first place. You You could see a bad student here, you could see a bad parent there, but if you look around more, you're going to see a ton of great students, a ton of great supportive parents, and we just got to do our best to make the negatives into positives and make the world a better place. I was very surprised to be selected as District Teacher of the Year. We had just had the concert the night before, so we were in here in the band room here. We were cleaning up everything from the stage, bringing it over, setting it back up how it looks now. I think I walked across the hall to get my conductor stand, and I see Mr. Green and Mr. Golder and Dr. Broomall and everybody walking down the hallway, and I did a double take. And I thought, they wouldn't be here to tell me no. Maybe one of them, but they wouldn't all be here to tell me no. So I ran into the band room. I said, put your phones away. Like, if you're not helping, help now. And so the students, they gave me a round of applause, and I was speechless because there's so many great educators in this district. I was honored to be a finalist. And then I was to actually become named District Teacher of the Year. It was something I didn't expect. It was something that took a good day or two to really sink in and realize that I was a Teacher of the Year. And it's just special. It's really special, and I just can't tell you how much it means to me.
Congratulations once again to Mr. Weaver and all the teachers who were nominated and selected to represent their schools. You are all very special individuals who are making a huge impact on the lives of so many young men and women. Speaking of making an impact, did you know that Red Clay also has a strong mentoring program? You didn't? Well then, I am glad we created this next video to inform you about the opportunity that you can volunteer for. It takes no time, and you don't need to have an educational experience to be able to volunteer. All you have to be is someone who cares, and knowing our audience, that means all of you. So let's take a look at this next video to learn a little bit more.
I have been mentoring coordinator in Red Clay for 17 years. For the last 10 years, I've been a mentoring coordinator in Highlands Elementary. I am full of experiences for mentoring. I feel passion for it. I think that it saves children. Red Clay has many needy students in all the schools. Children who need someone to listen to them, really listen to them. Children who need someone to show up every week and be constant in their lives. Someone to make them believe in themselves and to be their cheerleader and to be there for them all the time. These are things that a mentor does. To be a mentor, you really don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to be a genius. You just have to have a big heart. You have to want to help a child gain a future.
For me, it's been a very rewarding experience. When you connect with these kids, you see that the wheels are turning and you're making them think about things. That's a huge deal. A smile on their face is a great reward. In terms of the time that we commit to doing this, it's really pretty minimal. As a matter of fact, I wind up finding that I'd like to be able to spend more time with the kids because there's so much to talk about and do. And it's once a week. Again, many of us would love to have it be more frequent, but again, we're taking school time, so we only have so much time to deal with.
When you sit across or side by side with that mentee, and you can see the heart through their eyes, the smile on their faces, the excitement. When you go to their classroom to pick them up, the love, the need. You see their heart. I like to be able to measure where they are when I start working with them and their progress, and being able to measure that. Their level in reading, their growth in terms of their mathematical skills. I find that rewarding to see that a difference is being made, but even more so, it's not about me giving them, it's what they're giving me back. I think it really comes with just the need to be there. Some of these students may not always need the increase in reading skills or mathematical skills, but they need other things. Sometimes it's just sitting down playing a game with them. Connect Four, Uno, or any type of board game, Monopoly. You can come as you are, and there's always a fit for everyone. So there's always a need for more mentors. We have policemen, attorneys, corporate people, educators from all walks of life. If they have the interest, they have to allow themselves that one opportunity just to try it. Have a heart and have a passion to give back. I received a letter from a reading specialist here at Highlands Elementary, and a lot of respect for this reading specialist. And one of her students gave her a hero note to give to me. I did not mentor him, but coming from his culture, that was overwhelming. You never know who you're reaching. You may not have that one-on-one with that person, but the change that you can impact in their life can last a lifetime.
See, anyone can make a difference in a child's life if you're willing to take a little time out of your day. That's it. If you're interested in becoming a mentor, you can reach out to Connecting Generations at the website below. Give it a try. I guarantee it will make an impact not only on your mentee's life, but yours as well. You know, we're always talking about those who influence our children. But what about us as adults? It's tough because many of us are stuck in our ways, daily life taking its toll. But once in a while, something or someone comes across our path that leaves us reflecting on what we've just seen or heard. At the start of this year, a speaker came to Heritage Elementary School and did just that for me and the educators and administration who were in attendance. His question to us: what is your Everest? Don't know what that means? Take a look.
I'm just here to tell you a story. So there's about 1,500 people that have done a marathon in every state, 26.2 miles. And there's about 9,000 people that have summited Mount Everest. So if you take those two groups, 1,500 that have done all 50 states and 9,000 people that have done Mount Everest, and you do a Venn diagram, there's one person that has done both. That person lives among you, goes to the same Acme store you do, or maybe Zingo's, or maybe Whole Foods. Depends on your budget. But I go to Zingo's all the time. I run on Skyline, I run on Polydrummond, so that's my thing here. So my story started on July 27, 2005. I remember that day vividly. I remember it because my son was born on that day. So that was the day when I came home from hospital. I looked in the mirror and I said, oops, am I the guy that I want to be? What am I going to do when he's 9 and 10, and will I still have the energy to go and run around with him, push him around? What happens in high school? Will I be able to attend his graduation? What happens when he gets married? Will I be able to dance at his wedding? Will I be able to hold my grandkids? And that pushed me to a better lifestyle. And that was the first day I ran in my life. I was 37. The first time I ran in my life was the day my kid was born. I remember it was a 0.25 mile loop around the house. And, and just a few steps into it, I'm like, I was dying. I was literally dying. But the thought of coming back home without finishing that loop bothered me. What was I going to tell my kid? How would I face him, and what would I tell him about facing adversity and making sure that he overcome it? So that was really important for me. So I completed the loop that day, and then the next day and the following day, and soon enough that loop was easy. We did 1 loop, we did 2 loops, we did 3 loops, we did 4 loops, and then it became 8 loops and 12 loops, and before I knew it, I was doing 5Ks, 10Ks, signed up for a half marathon. Caesar Rodney, right here in Wilmington. Did that, and then I got ambitious. I'm like, let's go, let's do a marathon. Bucket list item, 1 marathon, 1 day. And I signed up for the Christiana Marathon right here in Wilmington. And how many people here have run a marathon? Awesome. How many people here have hit the wall? Mile 18, mile 20. Good for you guys. Me too. Mile 18, my run became a jog, jog became a shuffle, shuffle became a walk, and even that walk stopped for a little bit. I had to sit down, recalibrate, reset. Once again, the same thought came up to my mind. What am I going to tell my son? What will I go home and tell? Will I quit or will I move on? And lo and behold, I finished the marathon. It was terrible, it was rough. I said, never again. And I didn't do another one for a year. And then next year, had the same bug again, did the same exact thing, same result. 18 miles in, couldn't walk, barely shuffled, finished the marathon. And then I didn't do anything for the next 2 years. I was done with marathons. And then a close family member came up and said, hey, I want to do a marathon, can you help me? And I'm like, yeah. So I signed up for a third one. But that one was fun. Did not hit the wall, ran even pace, finished really, really strong. And that was a wonderful feeling to finish strong, to know that there's a wall out there that you're going to hit, but you can avoid it, you can cross it, you can go around it. You can do it without stopping. And that was a wonderful feeling. And that high that I got at the end was unbelievable. So, just for information, I finished my 50 states in November 2016, and I summited Everest 2 months ago on 5/27. So now I've done 3 marathons, 3 different states. I've done Delaware, I've done Philadelphia, and I've done Baltimore. And I really enjoyed Baltimore. And then I said, oh, what do I do? So I came home and I thought about what to do. And I came up with a goal. And I called my goal 50 by 50 by 50. 50 marathons in 50 states by the time I turned 50. So I put that goal on pen and paper, and I stuck it somewhere where I would look at it every day, every day. I was about 40, so I had 10 years to do 47, 48 marathons. So, for the first time in my life, I had a goal, a purpose, a mission, something that I could focus all my energy on. And we kept moving. So I set up a plan, and my plan was a 4-step plan. Pretty simple. Any situation in life for me, I set up a 4-step plan. And the first step is always a current situation analysis, where you sit down and say, okay, where we are right now. What is the current situation? And in this case, the current situation was I had done 3 marathons in 3 different states. And I wanted to do 50 different states. And then you have to come up with a hypothesis, which is nothing but an if-then statement. If I do 6 marathons a year for the next 8 years, I could do 50. And that would still give me a couple of years in case I got sick, I got hurt, I got injured. or I just wanted to take a break. And then the action steps. What am I going to do to actually do it? It's fine on paper, but you still have to do it. So I would sign up for races, I would book my tickets, I would take time off. I would tell my wife, please don't schedule anything on these days. And then the verification, which was simply finishing them. So current situation, I have 3 marathons in 3 states. My hypothesis, if I could run 6 marathons a year, then I'd be finishing 48 in about 8 years, and that would give me a couple years. And then the action steps, I would sign up for the races, book my hotels, book my flights, the car rentals, the whole enchilada. And the verification was, I got a t-shirt and a medal at the end. That gave me a lot of pleasure. You know that? Those t-shirts were priceless. And you know, this is such a beautiful country. I always wanted to travel it. And once you travel, you realize how beautiful America is. And some of these marathons were really, really unique. I ran through Air Force bases, I ran through state parks, national parks, presidential libraries. I did the Hoover Dam Marathon where you run through Hoover Dam. I've run in deserts, I've run in mountains, run in cold places, or just simple Main Street USA. Met some really, really cool people along the way. And you never knew who you were going to meet at the next marathon. I would go up and you know, everyone there had the same purpose. That was to finish a marathon. And when you're running with somebody for 4 or 5 hours, you know, they kind of open up and you get a perspective you normally don't. So the biggest takeaway for me was just meeting new people, making new friendships, getting a view that I normally would never get. I live in a world where you meet the same people again, your family, your friends, your business associates, and very rarely do you get somebody that has a different perspective of the world, that's from another part of the world, or that's grown up different from you, or that has a different view of the world. So that worked out really, really well. One of the things that somebody told me there, and I was complaining to him about all my aches and pains when running, and he says, look man, stop complaining. Learn to make pain your friend and you'll never be alone again. Not sure how many want friends like that, but. So coming back to my journey from number 4 to 51, no matter what happened, I finished. There's not a single race that I started that I did not finish. And that gave me immense confidence. That took me to another level. I started believing in myself. And there was no obstacle. There was nothing that I couldn't do. Once I signed up for something, I knew I was going to be able to finish it. And my mantra always was, if I commit, I shall not quit. So no matter what happened, once I committed, we had to go all the way. So I commit and I shall not quit. And that, to me, still today, is my mantra. Here I am at my 51st marathon. They gave me a special bib for 51 and managed to finish it. I finished it about 2.5 years ahead of schedule. My goal was 50 by 50 by 50. 50 marathons in 50 states by the time I turned 50. And guess what? 47.5, finished it. I had 2.5 years to do something or do nothing. But I decided what to do next. And you know, Mount Everest has always fascinated me. When I was young, there was a whole chapter in my geography book about Mount Everest. History books had a story about Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary, the first people that summited. So there was always an attraction about the big mountain that I had. So I said, why can't we do Mount Everest? That to me was the pinnacle of how high you could go, how far you could go. And there was nothing bigger, nothing taller, nothing more insurmountable than Mount Everest. The why. Why do people keep going to Mount Everest? There's 1,000 reasons not to do it. There's 10,000 reasons not to do it. I'm sure if you sat down, there's 1,000,000 reasons not to do it. It's tough, it's hard, you can lose your life, your bones, your limbs, your fingers. It's an expensive venture. There's a lot of heartbreak if you don't do it. There's a fear of social embarrassment. And you know what? When you go to the mountain always wins. So no matter how smart you think you are, the mountain's always going to win. Avalanches, crevices, earthquakes, no matter how much you prepare, you can't prepare for every eventuality. So the only thing you can hope when you go to a mountain like Mount Everest is that you don't lose, that you come back with everything intact. There's only one reason to go for me. And the reason was I wanted to test myself. I wanted to see what I could go. I wanted to see how far I could go. I'd never been on a mountain before. I was scared. I'm scared of heights. I'm scared of heights. But what do? So I said, let's turn around, let's look it in the eye, let's face it, and hopefully I will be able to overcome it. I did not know anyone that had summited Mount Everest at that point. I knew nothing about mountaineering. I had never been trekking. I had never slept in a tent. I didn't even own trekking shoes. I only had running shoes. So once I had a goal, I knew there had to be other people like me. So I had done 50 marathons. I had a chip here on my shoulder. I wasn't going to ask for help. And then something dawned on me. And I said, no matter what happens, I'm going to ask people. I'm going to swallow my ego, swallow my pride, and I'm going to ask people how to do it. And that's the biggest takeaway for me, was you're never alone in this world. Don't be scared to go outside and ask for help. There's a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge and resources that are willing to help you. You just have to stand up and ask. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody would know what was inside my heart. I wanted to do Everest. And nobody knew that. So I had to go outside and ask for help. I had to put myself out there with my arms and say, I need help. Can you help me? Or can you guide me? Or can you position me so that I can summit my Everest? Once again, came up with a 4-step plan. Very simple. CSA, I know nothing. I know nothing. And my hypothesis was, I'm going to make a plan and then follow that plan. Doesn't matter what that plan was. I'm just going to make a plan and then follow that plan. And the action steps were, I'm just going to book a ticket to Nepal, go there, and talk to people, go in the Everest region, meet companies, expeditions, and hopefully I'll meet a lot of people that will be able to guide me. Sitting here in Delaware, it's hard to find people, so I had to go to Nepal. And then, if I achieved it, that would be my verification. So I then came up with a timeline. So base camp is 17,000 feet. And I said, if I went up 3,000 feet at a time, every time I went, it would take me 5 trips to get on the summit. So first time I would go and I would go to 17,000 feet. Next time I would go to 20,000 feet. Next time I would go to 23,000 feet. The next time I would go to 26,000 feet. And then the following time, the last time, my summit would be at 29,000 feet. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I had never done anything close to this. So my first trip was the Everest base camp at 17,000 feet. So here's a picture of what a base camp trek looks like. You land in Kathmandu, you take a flight to a small airport called Lukla. So they call Lukla the most dangerous airport in the world, and I'll tell you why. From Lukla, you trek to Phagding, Namche, Tengboche, Dingboche, Lobuche, Gorakshep, and here you are at base camp, 5,364 meters, 17,000 feet. Takes you 2 weeks to go. So when you're trekking, this is a remote area. There's no power, no heat, no hot water, no running water, no plumbing. So it's just getting used to that lifestyle. You eat the same thing every day for 14 days, 3 times a day, which is basically lentils and rice. You boil it, you eat it, you burp, and then you start again. So I was lucky enough to make it on my first trip, didn't fall sick, nothing happened, no malaria, no dysentery, no diarrhea, none of all that good stuff. We made it. And that gave me a lot of confidence too. So met a lot of people that had done Everest. In fact, along the way, there's small like restaurants, lodges, or food places. And when I talked to them, almost every one of them had done Everest. So the Sherpa people, the indigenous people there, they are the ones that help other people summit. So they carry their loads, they set up the camps, all that good stuff that has to be done for someone to summit. This is a picture of Lukla Airport. There's a cliff on that side with a cliff with a 6,000 feet drop on that side, and this side is a huge mountain. This is a small 8-seater plane, and this plane has to land at the edge of the cliff. If it doesn't land at the edge of the cliff, it's going to hit the mountain because there's not enough runway. When it lands, it comes and makes a sharp right, and there's a small parking over here. So you land on the edge of that where those lines are, and then you're trying to slow down, and then right before you hit the cliff, you make a sharp right. And when you're going down, it's the same thing. It comes here, it accelerates, it goes, and it goes down from the cliff. It does not take off from the cliff because these are small planes, so it actually goes down and then goes up. At the bottom of the cliff, there's still planes with people in them because it's too hard to go and pick the dead bodies. So every time you go up and down this airport, it's a reminder that you can see the aircraft littered at the bottom of that cliff. Here's a picture of me crossing a suspension bridge, and I'll play a small. They have a couple rivers that pass by along the trek, and they have these suspension bridges. So these are supported on both ends of the bridge. So when there's a lot of people, the bridge actually moves. So this is just along the way. There's 2 bridges, one after another. And the last one, I am at the Everest Base Camp. So I've achieved the first goal I had out of my 5 goals. So remember, my first goal was 17,000 feet, then 20, then 23, then 26, and finally on my 5th trip, the summit. So I now am at the first step. Here I am at the 2nd step. I did Lobuche Peak, which was about 20,000 feet. Here's my Sherpa. I have a bunch of these welcome shawls, and you see them hanging all around. So every time you meet somebody, they give you one of these. That's their way of welcoming you. So then the 3rd step, I had to go to 23,000 feet. So I said, where to go? So I said, let me go to Everest. And what I'll do is I'm going to go to Camp 3 on Everest. And then while everybody's going up, I'm going to go back down from Camp 3. So I started at the base camp. We go to Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3. From Camp 3, all the other people went up, and I went down. So I stayed at base camp for a couple months. That gave me a good idea on what I had to do to summit when my time came. Met a lot of people there that were also doing Mount Everest. So this is in 2018. Made a lot of friends, learned a lot of things, tested my gear out, tested my team. And then in fall, I did an 8,000 meter mountain. So there's only 14 points in the world that are over 8,000 meters. 8 of them are in Nepal, 5 in Pakistan, and 1 in China. So this is one of those points. It's a mountain called Mount Manaslu. It's the 8th highest mountain in the world. I made it to the top, summited. I was very happy. And this, as you go up, this is a chart that shows you how much oxygen you have. So right now we're at sea level. There's 100% oxygen. At 8,000 meters, there's only 36%, which means for every 1 breath you take here, you have to take 3 breaths just to get the same amount in your body. So imagine, all night you don't, and many times you just get up and you're short of breath and you just get up and you're sweating. Anything over 8,000 meters, they call the danger zone, the death zone. Since there's not enough oxygen, your body starts eating itself. So every day that you stay, every minute that you stay, every hour that you stay, your body is eating itself. You're deteriorating. Your muscles are gone. Your blood supply is being diminished. So your brain, what it does, it wants to keep supplying blood to all your essential organs. So your liver, your heart are essential. Your fingers and toes aren't. So when you get there and you get cold, the first thing you lose is your digits. Fingers, toes, ears, nose, anything at the tip. There's reduced blood flow there. That's where you lose them. That's how you lose them. So we're now in April 2019, my final summit. I've done 6,000 meters, I've done 7,000 meters, I've crossed 8,000 meters, I've been in the death zone. I'm feeling good, I'm ready. So once again, you trek to base camp, and like we showed in the picture, there's 4 camps between the base camp and the summit. When you're climbing a mountain, it's never a straight line. So you don't go to camp 1, camp 2, camp 3, camp 4, and summit. It does not work like that. At base camp, you have 50% oxygen, and at the summit, you have 30% oxygen. So what you have to do is you have to go up slowly to get your body used to that less oxygen. If somebody were to magically take somebody from here at sea level and put them on the top of Everest, within 2 minutes, you'd be feeling dizzy, you'd have a terrible headache. In 5 minutes, you'll be sitting down, and within 15 minutes, you would die. 0 chance of survival. So what we do is we call them rotations. So you start from base camp and you go to camp 1. You sleep there for a night. You let your body get used to the low oxygen, and then you come down. So what happens is when you go from a low altitude to a high altitude, there's less oxygen, and the body compensates by producing more red blood cells. Those are the ones that carry your oxygen through your body. And the more blood cells you have, the better you can perform. So you go from base camp to camp 1, you sleep there a night, your body thinks, oh my God, this is no good, produces more red blood cells, and then you come down. But you still have your red blood cells, and that helps you recover better. And you do this all the time. So one day you go to camp 1, you sleep there, you come down, then you rest for a couple days, then you go up again to camp 1, camp 2, you come down, you rest again. So you go in this up and down motion all the time. It's never a straight line. So these are called rotations. So you're doing these rotations, you're doing 3, 4, 5 rotations all through the season. So you're spending 2 months at base camp, and you're not sitting at base camp doing nothing. So you're doing these rotations up and down, that helps your body acclimatize. It helps your body produce more red blood cells. And as you go up, that is essential. Now, some people might say, oh, why don't you take oxygen from base camp? The fact is, it's heavy. You don't want to carry anything. You want to be as light as possible. a pound here is going to weigh 10 pounds there. Because you're tired, you don't have strength, your body's eating itself. I started base camp at 150 pounds. The day I reached summit, I had lost 30 pounds. I was severely dehydrated, hadn't eaten for days, hadn't slept for days. It's a rough place to be. So there we are. We're going to go up and down all the time. We're going to help our body acclimatize. We're going to give ourselves every chance of success, which means we're going to work as hard as we can. Once again, the higher you go, the oxygen levels are low. Your body adapts by producing more red blood cells, and when you come down, those red blood cells help you recover. So I was now ready for my final push. May 16th, I leave the base camp. May 17th, Camp 1. Same day, Camp 2, and then we sleep 2 nights at Camp 2 to rest. And then 19th, we leave, go to Camp 3, sleep there, Camp 4, sleep, get up there. Total 6 days. And remember, there's no food in those 6 days. You have no food. So what you do is you're carrying a burner and a stove, and you're melting the snow, and you're boiling it for your water. And then you're using stuff like noodles, quick stuff. Very little nutrition. So you're eating a lot of candy, you're eating anything that has carbs and sugar. A lot of it. So this is a picture between base camp and Camp 1. This is known as the Khumbu Ice Fall. So at some point this was a river, a flowing river. But because of the cold weather, it has been broken down. And it's on a glacier, so it's moving. So imagine a frozen river with big chunks of ice moving. So when you're crossing, it's scary. You never know which big ice serac is going to fall on you from where. And they fall all the time. People die there all the time. More people die here than anywhere else. They have these crevasses, which is bottomless pits. As the big chunks of ice move, you have to be careful. They have these rickety ladders, not different from those, and they're tied together by rope. And at the end, they're just placed on there. You want to get out of those as soon as possible. So, here's a picture of me crossing one of the ladders. One thing you don't want to do is look down, because it's a bottomless pit. It's a bottomless pit. You fall down, you're not coming back up, no matter what. This is just another picture of me on one of the ice falls. This is my view. I got up to this every day. It was cold, it was freezing, but every time I opened the window, opened the door, opened the tent, it was beautiful. There were prayer flags everywhere, similar to these. These have Buddhist prayers written on them. And the Buddhist people believe that if you put them outside and the wind blows on it, that takes the prayers from here and spreads them around. So what they do is they take them along with them everywhere they go. And they go to the highest point, as high as they can, and they hang them high so that the wind blows them around. So the more the wind blows them, the more prayers go out. And I needed every one of those. Here's a picture of Camp 1. Nothing but a sheet of snow. Nothing but a tent on snow. You get up in the morning and you're like, oh, why am I wet from behind? You get up and there's a thin sheet of ice on your sleeping bag. So it is cold. -20, -30. Here's a wall between Camp 1 and Camp 2. So this one was so big that they couldn't put a ladder from one side to the other. So you had to go down and then you had to go back up. You're climbing with just a rope, as you can see. There's a ladder that gets you started, takes you a quarter of the way, and after that, you have to do with a rope. Here's another crossing. As you see, it's a narrow crossing in between two, and that can collapse anytime. Here's another shot. Up and down, and then a ladder. Ladders are your friend. Here's another picture. You're going around, and that's how you came down. So you slipped down, but going up, you had to go all the way around. I was afraid of heights. This is a view from the top. As you see, this is the shadow of Everest. The clouds are below you, and you can see lightning in the distance. China on one side, Nepal's on the other side. At 29,000 feet, you're at the altitude where the jumbo jets fly. It's beautiful. From up there, you can see the curvature of the Earth. So when your science teacher says the Earth is round and you want to test it, that's where you go. That is where you go. This is another view. I was there at 6:30 in the morning, saw a beautiful sunrise. One of the best that I've ever seen. That's me at the summit with my Sherpa. I'm so tired. I had to sit down. I had to rest. I had to thank God, made it halfway. And then the tough part, going back down. Going up is easy, actually. You're full of adrenaline, you want to get to a goal. When you get to the top, that's when your energy starts flagging. You've done it, you're tired, you just want to go home. And going down is trickier. Most people that die going down. Very few people die going up. This year, 11 people died. 11 people that I knew from base camp, 11 people that I had lunch, dinner with, met them. So going on top was a great feeling. But it's sad to know that your friends, your compadres, aren't going to make it. I was lucky. I had a fantastic team. I had a Sherpa, I had an expedition company, I had support staff that helped me make it. If I could change anything about Everest, it would be the dead bodies. It would be people that were dead or were dying. It's hard to look somebody in the eye when they're alive and leave them to die. And some of those things still haunt me. But then, what can you do? At that altitude, you're of no help to anyone. You need 12 people to help one person in trouble. You need 12 people to help one person in trouble. In the death zone, if you do get in trouble, they leave you there. There's no coming back. There's no 911, there's no ambulance, there's no airplane, there's no air taxi, nothing. You get in trouble, you die. And that's the agreement you have before you go up. So this is a great story, but how does that story relate to what we do here? In a few weeks' time, in a few days' time, you can have kids all over this school. These kids are like me, wandering around. They want to get somewhere, and they need a Sherpa. They need a teacher. They need you guys to come in and guide them, take them to their Everest. Every kid has an Everest. Every person has an Everest. I had an expedition company, support staff that helped make sure the logistics were there, that the food was there, that helped me make it to the top. Same thing here. You have administrators, you have Red Clay District, you have the principals, you have the vice principal, all the other staff, the custodians that make it possible for you guys to be the Sherpas. And as teachers, you guys are the Sherpas. You guys are going to help these kids take them to their Everest, whatever their Everest might be. Maybe these kids just want to learn comprehension, spelling, math, whatever they want to learn. You guys are the Sherpas. You guys are going to take them and take them as high as you can, as high as they can go. That's your goal. That's your potential. Once again, coming down to basics, who are you going to help summit today? It's a question that I ask myself every day when I go to work. Who am I going to help today? Who am I going to help reach their potential? There was a time when I needed a Sherpa. Today, I am the Sherpa. I'm here to help. How do I help others achieve their goals? Which one of you is going to be the Sherpa for the kid? And then comes back to you. What's your Everest? What is it that you want to achieve? Everest for me was a mountain, 29,000 feet, high, insurmountable, cold, windy, all that good stuff. But it could be done, and I did it. What's yours? It's a question for you guys. What is your Everest? Thank you guys so much. It was wonderful.
What is your Everest? Something to think about, and hopefully a concept to internalize and make part of your everyday lives. I know I've asked myself that question, and it's propelled me to shoot for the moon in whatever challenge I pose for myself. Well, that's all we have for this episode of The Good Stuff. We sure hope you enjoyed watching it. We are always on the lookout for fun and smile-worthy stories to bring you. So if you have an idea for one of our next features, please feel free to email us, or you can always hit us up on social media. We'd love to hear from you. And finally, as you might recall, we always try to leave you with something to think about and something positive. So remember this quote from Winston Churchill. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Have an amazing day.